Hey there, everyone! I hope you are all doing good. Stasma here. Today we are going to talk about the Tobinski Sequencer and its expander. I was very happy when Tobinski offered to send me one of these so I could give it a try and make a video out of it, which makes that video sponsored by Tobinski, because I was super excited about that sequencer. I'm a big fan of analog sequencers, and it's been a long time that I wanted something like multiple sequencers, analog, in the same panel with the ability to clock each of them differently. And even more, being able to self-patch this in a way that it can become a complex sequencing organism inside one module, no matter how big it is. And basically, they just did that. It's a monster of sequencing right at your fingertips. It can be very simple. As I will explain, it's basically a few simple building blocks, but all put together in a way that can lead you to very complex results in a very small amount of time. I'm not going to explain everything about the sequencer and its expander. I'm mostly going to show you what I like about it, even though it's going to be a somewhat full overview. Thanks to you for watching. Feel free to go support the channel on Patreon or by buying stuff in the affiliate links or by going to grab some music on Bandcamp. So, the Tobinski sequencer is quite a beast, but at the heart of it, it is mostly a bunch of very simple building blocks put together with the ability to create complex results. So to explain it in the easiest way I think possible, I'm going to start very simple. This is somewhat of the default position. We are not going to care at all about the expander right now. So the first thing you might want to do is to start the sequencer. Tempo is here. And here I just started the motion. I'm listening to this 259. The first outputs we have here are the voltage outputs. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 to start with. What is 1? 1 is those 8 voltages. Just a little trick to tune analog oscillators with analog sequencers. I like to just go minimum, maximum, minimum, maximum, minimum, maximum, and define a range that I like on the exponential FM input, which is what I just did. So you have a range that makes sense. Okay, so with sequencer 1, I'm controlling this. But what is 2? This is exactly the same thing. Because what output 2 is, it's actually those same voltages, but with a different read head. Right now, all the read heads are at the same position. But now, using this end parameter, I made the play of the second sequencer 6 steps. here I have 8 steps, and from output 2 I will have only 6. Bring on the second oscillator. So this is sending one to both. And now I have one reading those pitches in 8 and the other one in 6. Let's use the 264 to quantize all this with the ART protocol. Here we have the gate out. So the gates work the same way. Let's also send those gates to trigger envelopes, so it will be easier to hear. So right now all the switches are down, so it's gate on every step. This is also read differently by 1 and 2. Which is why it's quite simple to get very complex results by just patching 2 CVs. We could use 3 and 4 to be sent to different destinations and also change the direction. One slightly annoying thing though, when you're like this, it's fine when it's forward, but when you put it backward, it's blocked because it's waiting for you to change the things like this. This is one of my only annoyances with this module. And that's what I like about this kind of sequencers, is that it's very hands-on. It's quite patch programmable in the surge way. Because you can basically like patch out a few stuff and then just jam around with switches and sliders. Pressing start will reset everyone at its start position. Same as sending a CV to reset in. So before we get to the 1 plus 2 and 1 and 2, let me show you a function with this. So if I take 1 to modulate timbre, I have a stepped modulation. If I put one switch in the middle, it will not output gate at the gate output, and also it will not read the voltage. If you put it on top, it will slide between the values, allowing you to make some custom LFO shapes. Which I always like to play with. Let's check the second interesting output, 1 plus 2 and 3 plus 4. So what's going to happen with these is that at the 1 plus 2, we get the 2 read head adding on top of each other. So the regular output 1, 2, 3, 4 are 5 volts out. But these are 10 volts. Better for Buchla. If the read heads are the same, we just get that same voltage that we make on bank A or B, but double the voltage. Let's hear that. Two is the same thing. But 1 plus 2 give you more range, basically. It is able to really affect the whole range. Well, these are just doing half the range. So if we go back on something tonal, let's take 1 plus 2 to a quantizer. So it is a better range to use with arts, for example. But what's more fun is that when you change one playhead, you will get a melody or a pattern that takes a much longer time to repeat. And this is something that I've always liked to do with sequencers, but here you just can do it like this. It takes no time at all. This is a great moment to show you that we also have n pulse output. So let's say that I want that 8-step sequence to repeat. At the end of 1, advance read head 2. I can do that. So now this is reading the same voltages but transposing the whole one sequence. This is a very organic relationship between the sequence. I love this. And one of the things that I like even more is that you can cascade that. So the end of 2 will be the clock for 3. If I want the 10 volt range, I can take 3 plus 4. We can do that again to have another read head that's like extremely slow. And when we take those 1 plus 3, well, 1 plus 2, 3 plus 4, we still have the individual others. Let's use this one to control the tempo. This is so long to change that it's quite boring to watch on the video. So let's make the other subject. So back to normal. Now I want a 16-step sequence. So I can take one entry. So this is 1 and then 3. We have the same thing with 3 and 4. Let's make 4 a little less long. We have the same thing for the gates, as you can see. Like I said, easy, long, weird sequence in a second. If you have a quantizer after, then you can just jam on it for ages. So let's take the ref out, that is the clock. And clock this guy. And I will use that programmed C out as the clock for 3. It's really been a long time that I wanted a sequencer with different playhead kind of thing, but with different stages that you could clock differently. Because this opens up so much more. I mean, it really breaks the repeating classic 8-step patterns. You can get repeatability in a much more large form. Okay, proper messy patch. It's once again my friend the tracker that is doing most of the work. I've made that breakbeat line that's just a bit filter automated in the buchla with a random voltage. I programmed that sort of baseline using the AirMod Plus as a MIDI to CV converter. It's playing the 258 that's over here. Then I used quite a bunch of different gate outputs, clock divisions and programmed ones from the AirMod Plus, and I've clocked independently all the channels here. And quantized this, sent it to the 259 and 296. And so I have that sort of weird melodic thing. That I can play with and make some sort of a performance out of it. Using the 1 and 3 and 2 and 4. They alternate in a weird way because it's not clocked normally, I'd say. The 3 plus 4 is better. going to record that. And then all the other elements one by one. And make something properly composed in live. And we'll see what it does. I wanted to talk more about the expander now. So let's make a simple patch. So I'm using 1+2. So the two here are added together, which is right now giving me just a plus 10 volts, 0 to 10 volt range. But if I start to change the loop points of any of the two sequences, I will have something different. So I can play with the step order. Which, as I said, is voltage controllable. I like to send properly random things into it and just see what happens. I can see the range is too big. Especially when you're using a quantizer after it, it will always be on the thing. It can give you some fun results. Here we have the gate length. Reset to 1, we will see that later. This is deciding of the first step of the loop. Step hold, as the name suggests, will hold the step when receiving a high voltage. Here I'm doing it here. It can be done with some unsynced material as well. Loop end, as well as loop start, are added to the initial voltage. Here we can see playhead 1 randomly going back to 1. So one thing I find quite fun is to use multiple sequences that do not start on 1 and set a reset in once in a while, so everyone goes back to 1 and then goes to another loop. Let's add some glide and some rest for a more complex pattern. So one other thing I wanted to show here is the strobe mode. You access when you press the red button. From there, What's going to happen is that instead of moving with the clock, the location of the steps will be set by CV. The difference here is that now you can have the same set of CV, like the melodies that you were liking before, but instead of having it to play in one of the defined order or by linearly going through a clock or in reverse or whatever, you can really voltage control where it is and so get different results out of the same voltages. Of course, there is no actual reason to use all the jacks of the expander at once. The expander is really here to expand the possibilities of the main sequencer, which is already quite impressive. This is the control freak brake panel, I would say. As you can see, this also have an effect on the automatic switching procedure. This is now completely random. Let's jam around with this a little bit. Now, what would happen if we were to clock this with an external source? So we can use step in. I've patched the run output of the drum machine to the reset, which means that every time I press start on the machine, everyone is lining up on the 1. Synced electro ritual. I made an ADSR out of this 281 clone. You can do the same thing with the 281T. A gate with variable length sent to both two functions. One in trigger, one in hold mode. Take the peak out. Here you will have only one. But this will give you sustain because it's held during the whole gate. Plus a second release stage. Cool if you want to make some slides. So when you slide, the gates stay open. Bass sound is saw wave into the 296T mixed with itself with different gates. 880 into the frequency shifter. One little detail. When your module is clocked, the tempo becomes the general gate length plus slide. So if it's too long, you get just full-on gate all the time and no slide at all. Which also means that you can control that. So many funny patching can be done with this thing. I love it. Thanks to you for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.